Hi everyone and welcome to session 2 of module 1. Today we'll talk about momentum, and the first time I heard the word momentum I was a young manager in a software engineer. It was my first really managerial role, and we had this exercise that almost every week or every 2 weeks we'll talk with the team about the project, and we will have like post-it everything that went good and everything that went bad, and then the team would just write whatever they thought that went all right, and they would stick it. It would be anonymous, and if they wanted later to comment it, they could. So we're doing the exercise, and then I go and I see that one of the young engineers has written something like, yeah, it was great that we kept the project's momentum. I'm like, okay, what is momentum? And then he elaborates and he's like, yeah, it's good that there was like, we were like into it, we were like doing it. That's what I understood at the moment. How little did I know about momentum? And I remember the definition of momentum that we studied in physics is the power to move things, to keep things moving. But I didn't know. What I didn't know back then is that the same law of physics is the same law of success, same law of the universe, that momentum is what it takes to create success. In fact, Tony Robbins describes this many years after that, after hearing about momentum and realizing that it's a business term. I heard it in the self-development industry, the knowledge industry. So Tony Robbins explains it in a great way. There's something called the circle of success, and one of the biggest reasons for people to become successful is their ability to understand what momentum is. So basically, this circle of success, and later I'm gonna have it here edited in the video, hopefully. So the circle of success is what? It's something that starts with the potential. So I'm gonna ask you to look at the worksheets in the files attached, and then you will see it, and just please follow up with me. So imagine that you have a square, and this square is divided to 4 other squares, right? So the top square is called potential. And we're human beings and we have great potential. I mean, look at the kids. I look at my son and I'm like, he has great potential. He's smart. He is supported by his parents. He can pretty much be whatever he wants, right? He can be whatever that he chooses to be. But how many people do you know who have great potential, but they ended up with really lousy results in their lives? They've done nothing really. So it means that a huge potential is not enough to create success, which moves us to the next quarter, which is action. So in order to be able to like maximize this potential, you need to do action. But how many times have you seen people doing a very small action that was not enough, or perhaps the wrong action that does not lead to results? So we've got potential, we've got a potential leads to action, leads to results, right? And then you will realize that once you have good results and you continue this cycle, you will feel certain. You're doing something, you're doing it so good, you start to feel so good, like, I'm really good at this. Like in this course, I'm supposed to record 28 videos. And when I tell my friends, my parents, I go like, okay, I'll do 28 videos. They go like, whoo, that's a lot of videos. Was it a lot for me? No, it wasn't. Why? Because I did a challenge before this video, before this project. I was doing a challenge that I was recording live, and I did it for like 2 months. So I know that is good for me. It's like 28 is nothing because I've already done a 60, like I've already done 60 videos, right? So I am confident as I'm doing these videos. Was I confident before I did that challenge? No, I wasn't confident. It was taking me like maybe hours to record one video. So that's the thing. When you're doing something, you're so good at it, you start to feel so comfortable that automatically you create this certainty or belief, right? And that is the circle of success. Someone might tell me, well, okay, so what if I don't have good results? I don't have good results, and I just I don't believe in myself anymore because I did it once, I did it twice, didn't work out for me, so I'm really like in a vicious circle, right? So this person feels that they're in a vicious circle, and it happens. That's why this certainty or this belief has to be created in your mind at the beginning. You can't wait for it to happen in real life until you feel certain about something that you're doing. Napoleon Hill, the guy who spent 20 years writing his book Think and Grow Rich, this guy studied the most famous people at his time and the rich people and people who've really done great things like Henry Ford, for example. He studied all of them and he came up with, okay, why are these people rich? Success leaves clue, right? So why are these people rich? And he wrote his book. It's a classic, definitely one of my favorite books, Think and Grow Rich, right? And he says whatever happens happens actually twice. The first time it happens in your mind, and the second time it happens in reality. Now, some people are creating the first happening unconsciously. Ever happens to you that you want to do something and you're like, I know I'm going to fail at it. Yeah, I'm just not so good. And then you actually fail, right? You fail because it happened already in your mind. You were sure about it. So you went and you tripped and didn't work out. Same thing happens with the success, with the creation of that moment of success. I'm gonna do it. So when I first heard from Tony Robbins about momentum and how he explains it, I was like, okay, that's interesting, but I didn't quite understand it until I started watching my life, looking at my life and looking at the events in my life, and then I realized that momentum was happening to me. It happened few times in my life, but I didn't even realize it. So the nearest situation that happened, we were renting a flat, me and my husband. So we were renting it to bachelors, right, to some guys. Then when we decided that we want them to move out, they were like, no, we're not moving out. We like it here, and we're not getting out. So because we were subcontracting, and it was actually my idea, so I wasn't really sure if that is even legal. So I was really reluctant to call the police. I was like, okay, what if I call them and then they drag me into court and so on? Turns out that it's okay. But let me tell you what happened. So we went to the house. One of the guys was not there. He was a sportish, short guy, but sportish. He had his room closed. We went there. We were like, okay. His friends were there, so we were like, okay, call him to come and open the door. He came angry. He was like, why are you trying to kick us out? I want to stay here. I'm already settled, blah, 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 like all that. And then he was like kicking the door. He's like, no one can kick me out. I'm staying here, poof, poof, poof. He would kick. And then I was like, okay, you have to leave. And then they convinced him that I just want to take some photos for the furniture inside because I want to sell it. And he was like, okay. So he was about to open, and then he goes like, okay, I'll just open the door for you, and you will take your photos, like you'll take your little photos, and you will get out. So at that moment, what I did is that I told him, no, I'm gonna take the photos, and you will get out, and you will give me the key. Now for me, this was a massive action, because I just escalated the level of my demands, kind of like knowing that something is gonna happen, but I had no idea where that was coming from. But I just knew that that's what I want, and that's what I'm gonna demand, right? So for me, this was a massive action that I've done. I was like, no, I want this, and this. And then from there on, the situation escalated. He wanted to take my mobile, and then my husband got kind of like physical with him. They pulled him apart, and immediately I called the police. So I was like, okay, this is too much. I'm calling the police right now. So I called the police. This was a correct action that I have done. From there on, and I think the momentum happened somewhere between the massive action and the correct action, or maybe the massive action that you do just triggers the correct action. Then the whole situation changed. They started to like pack immediately. One of these guys packed in like 2 minutes. When the police came, he was like, what's going on, you guys? And they were like, she asked us to leave. We rented from this lady. She asked us to leave, and we're leaving. Wow, so the whole situation changed. It was weird. The police was also supportive, and they left. And this led me to a conclusion. I looked at my life and I saw momentum happening to me a few times, really. And I was able to identify it. I was able to frame it. I was able to tell, okay, so this is momentum. Next time it happened to me, I was like, okay, momentum is happening now. So I was like more aware of it when it was happening at the moment. So I'll tell you how to identify momentum, how to frame it, how to know, okay, momentum is happening now. First, there has to be a problem. So you have a problem, you're trying to visualize, think of, okay, there will be a solution, because in that situation I kept on telling myself, no, this will be solved, they will get out, will be alright. I kept on imagining them leaving and everything okay, and even smiling, and it was like a positive. And that's what happened actually. When they left, they were okay, because there were a lot of other details and conversations that I didn't mention in the story. But so anyway, for the sake of this exercise, so first thing, there has to be a problem. And you have to visualize and imagine and kind of like create that certainty that there will be a solution for it. Then you have to take a massive action. And a massive action for me is not necessarily a massive action for you, right? Because it depends on your personality, your capabilities, your situation, whatever you can or cannot do, but it has to be a massive action. And then there will be a correct action. Momentum is something like the moment that the universe serves you. The universe is rolling to your favor. Everything happens and the moment becomes bigger than you, and everything goes in the direction of what is right for you. Everything happens for you. People start to change behavior. They start to, something changes. They start to switch. And that's how you know that momentum happens. So my call for action for you today is to go through the worksheet, go through the exercise of really just write down the success cycle. Try to understand it. Try to understand how to frame momentum. Think of situations in your life that you have experienced momentum and you have not really realized it. Think with the mindset that, okay, I'm gonna try to reveal in my life when did momentum happen, and I'm gonna keep in mind that, okay, momentum can happen to me. So just be aware of what is happening in your life. If you have a problem at the moment, voila, that is perfect, because that's an opportunity for you to create momentum. And I'll just leave you with something that Tony Robbins shared, and that was the story that made me realize it, just like made it closer to me, and perhaps it will do the same to you. Well, he talks about the football games, and you know how like sometimes you're watching football games, let's say like or like a basketball game, let's say an NBA, and then there is so Michael Jordan goes and okay,